video, I want to talk about psilocybin. Psilocybin is considered a Schedule I drug in the U.S. It is illegal to have, and it is illegal to consume. It is also one of the most beneficial drugs in pharmacology. And I can prove that and back that with multiple scientific articles, which I will in this video. So first, I want to just make some claims about psilocybin. These claims, I think, can be supported by the articles, and I will link the articles in the description. I personally think that the headlines for these articles maintain the integrity of what the article is saying. So let's start with this one. Major depressive disorder is thought to be caused by a decrease in the number of flexibility of neural synapses. Researchers found that one psychedelic dose of psilocybin in pigs increased the number of synapses and made serotonin signaling more effective. Basically, if you consume psilocybin, it's easier to be happy. There's more evidence. This one's probably my favorite study. A new study finds that psilocybin greatly and quickly relieves depression. Let me pull up the study real quick so you can all see this one. This one's pretty important, okay? So psilocybin study finds that it... let me pull up the actual study. So we don't have a blog filter. I'll just read the abstract for you all. So the title of the study is called Effects of Psilocybin-Assisted Therapy on Major Depressive Disorder. Major Depressive Disorder is something that I have, and I'm currently not treating it with psilocybin because psilocybin is illegal and my psychiatrist cannot prescribe it to me, despite this study's results. This was recently published, only a few months ago. So here are the key points. Question: is psilocybin-assisted therapy efficacious among patients with major depressive disorder? So here are the findings. In this randomized clinical trial of 24 participants, let me just clarify, you can make statistical claims with 24 people. If you think, oh, this is just like a small study or whatever, wrong. You can find statistical significance with any sample size above 1. Okay, I have a bachelor's degree in mathematics. I taught statistics at a university for 2 years. Not a good university, but I still taught statistics, and I know a thing or two about this. So you can make statistical claims. Although I don't think that the intention behind this article is to make statistical claims, or at least claims of statistical significance. So in this random clinical trial of 24 participants with major depressive disorder, participants who received immediate psilocybin-assisted therapy compared with delayed treatment showed improvement in blinded clinician rater-assessed depression severity and in self-reported secondary outcomes through the 1-month follow-up. This randomized clinical trial found that psilocybin-assisted therapy was efficacious in producing large, rapid, and sustained antidepressant effects in patients with major depressive disorder. Holy shit. That alone should be enough to tell you that this drug should be legalized. That alone. But it's illegal. The public's perception of the harms of magic mushrooms is in line with science. Psilocybin-containing mushrooms are relatively safe compared to alcohol, tobacco, heroin, cocaine, and other drugs. But this is not in line with drug laws, which put magic mushrooms in the most restrictive categories. So magic mushrooms are the only things on Earth that you can consume that has psilocybin. Why is that? It's because mushrooms are pretty fucking important. If you don't know about mushroom science, you should learn about mushroom science, considering that mushrooms are probably the only fucking reason you have one of these things in your fucking head. And you can think right now and watch this video and understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. Wow, that's weird. Look at the interview between Joe Rogan and, I forgot the mycologist's name, but really smart mycologist. And he talks about how there was a 2 million period, 2 million year span where the human brain became very intelligent. Most people think that happened because the monkeys came down from the trees and they were required to be social. That's fucking bullshit, I think, at least. I think that's complete bullshit. I don't like that theory. The theory that the mycologist presented, I think, makes a lot more sense, and I think that these studies are more evidence to suggest this. But here's the thing. During those 2 million years, the only food source that humans, Homo sapiens or whatever, had at the time were magic mushrooms that grew on elephant shit in Africa. Okay? That's just the truth. Okay? That was a huge staple in their diet. And then all of a sudden, during that same time period, all these humans became extremely fucking smart. Almost like as though psilocybin created new neural synapses in the human brain. Why are mushrooms so important in the human diet? Well, you need to understand a little bit of mycology. And I think everyone should. Okay? So, every single species, every single species that exists on planet Earth right now depends on water and fungus. Okay? Fungus. Your body is basically water and fungal matter. Fungus. That's all it is, kind of. Sort of. Evolved. Plants are just evolved fungi. The earliest sign of life was literally a thing of mycelium, like a mycelium fossil. Or no, there was a mushroom fossil recently discovered that's like as old as the ocean water, or almost as old, which kind of begs the question, did life come from a comet that crashed into the earth? You know, and that meteorite had organic chemicals and possibly some mycelium on it, and then that mycelium somehow spread and created all life. I don't know, maybe. But the point is this. If we evolved from mushrooms, then mushrooms are probably integral in the human diet. And they are. You're eating a lot of fungus all the time. All the time. But you are not eating the mushrooms you should be eating. Okay, so in the U.S., how many mushrooms can you get? How many species of mushrooms can you get in the U.S.? Well, in the U.S., you get these things called white button mushrooms. Now, white button mushrooms, and I'm not typing anything. These things, they're good for you, kind of. They're pretty good. The health benefits behind this specific species of mushrooms are extensive. You should eat these mushrooms. These are great for you. But here's the thing. There are more mushrooms out there than just one species. In the US, you don't get access to those other species. Why is that? Well, let's pull up an example. You ever heard of the oyster mushroom? If you haven't heard of the oyster mushroom, I've eaten the oyster mushroom. I love the oyster mushroom. It has some health benefits. So, oyster mushroom is a rich source of protein, vitamins, minerals, fiber, and other antioxidants like selenium protect body cells from damage that might lead to chronic diseases and help to strengthen the immune system. Oyster mushrooms is low in calories, fat-free, cholesterol-free, gluten-free, and very low in sodium. Let's go to the next one. Red reishi. Where's reishi, I think. You ever heard of reishi mushrooms? I don't think you have heard of reishi mushrooms. You know why? Because they have a lot of health benefits. And if you eat these, then you might actually become healthy. And if you could become healthy, then that might hurt the drug industry. At least their profits. Ooh, we don't want to do that. All right, so what's a reishi mushroom? The reishi mushroom, also known as I don't know how to say these fucking names. I just remember how to. I actually don't remember these at all. And lingzi is a fungus that grows in various hot and humid locations in Asia. So Asians have been eating this for a very long time. And what do you know? Lo and behold, Asians live longer on average. They don't have mental diseases like we do in the US. Interesting. Within the mushroom, there are several molecules, including triterpenoids, I don't know what that is, that may be responsible for its health effects. While the mushrooms themselves can be eaten fresh, it is also common to use powdered forms of the mushroom or extracts that contain these specific molecules. Those specific molecules you can basically only find in mushrooms. Mushrooms contain things that no other food contain, okay? And there's specifically a vitamin, well, they haven't labeled it a vitamin yet, but there's a substance, a molecule in mushrooms that scientists are beginning to wonder if it corresponds to a vitamin, a necessary component of your diet. Scientists are beginning to wonder if shit like oyster mushrooms, red reishi, should be necessary in your diet. You know how veggies are necessary? Pfft. Mushrooms are fucking way more necessary. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? You think plants are healthier than mushrooms? Where do you think fucking plants came from? Where do you think they came from? Where do you think the plants evolved from? I'll tell you what they fucking evolved from. They evolved from the fungi kingdom. So all the benefits stem from the fungi. Oh, interesting. One of the most important... Okay, so here are the 6 benefits of reishi. It boosts your immune system. It has anti-cancer properties. They're literally using some of the shit to fight cancer. It could fight fatigue and depression. It helps with your heart. It helps with blood sugar. It helps antioxidants. Like, you go down the list of all these fucking mushrooms, right? All these medicinal mushrooms. And they help with aging. They help with immunity. You go down the list. These things cause Asians to live longer. You want to know why the life expectancy is short in the US? This is a huge reason, okay? Here's the other reason. Psilocybin, which is found in magic mushrooms. So there are medicinal mushrooms. There are poisonous mushrooms, which you should not consume. The poisonous mushrooms are for other species to consume. Again, all species depends on fungus. Not the other way around, by the way. Not necessarily the other way around. Okay, let's get into the Wikipedia article. Psilocybin is naturally occurring psychedelic prodrug compound produced by more than 200 species of fungus. So it's produced by natural occurring phenomenon. Psilocybin is old. From an evolutionary perspective, it's old as fuck. It's in like the diet of so many species, okay? That's my opinion. And by the way, you can consume this without hallucinating. You can do this thing called microdosing. Yeah, let me skip the science. You can read the science if you're interested in mycology. The intensity and duration of the effects of psilocybin are variable depending on species or cultivar of mushrooms, dosage, individual physiology, and setting, as was shown in experiments led by Timothy Leary at Harvard University in the early 1960s. Once ingested, psilocybin is rapidly metabolized to psilocin, which I think I said that. I might have said that wrong. Which then acts on serotonin receptors in the brain. The mind-altering effects of psilocybin typically last from 2 to 6 hours, although to individuals under the influence of psilocybin, the effects may seem to last much longer, since the drug can distort the perception of time. So it has some weird effects. It causes hallucinations and shit. Psilocybin has a low toxicity and a low harm potential. You know why? Because we fucking lived off of them for 2 million years. in terms of the science, if you look at the science, there are no scientific articles talking about psilocybin overdose. Okay? That doesn't exist. Possession of psilocybin-containing mushrooms has been outlawed in most countries, including the U.S., and it has been classified as a scheduled drug by many national drug laws. And if you own it, you own magic mushrooms, you can be locked up in jail for the rest of your life. Now, not everywhere in the U.S. In Oregon, they just passed a law which basically legalizes all drugs in a very specific context. Okay, so it's not like they're just legalizing drugs; they're just decriminalizing and a couple other things. California almost legalized psilocybin. Now, California didn't legalize psilocybin because of COVID-19. There was a petition that was going around to try to get enough signatures to put it on the ballot as a proposition to legalize psilocybin because it's literally treatment for major depressive disorder. 1 dose is all you need, and it has effects for months. 6-month mark, in fact. There are studies on that. It's more effective. Psilocybin is 4 times more effective than the leading antidepressant right now, by the way. So if you're on antidepressants, imagine getting 4 times the fucking effects. Wouldn't that be cool? It'd probably be cool, huh? I am on an antidepressant that isn't psilocybin. I wouldn't mind if politicians started listening to scientists. That would be fucking awesome, wouldn't it? So here's an article from November. In California, psychedelics legal in California and a break from wildfires. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Will psychedelic drugs become legal in California next year? So on Tuesday, Scott Wiener revealed his plans to introduce a bill decriminalizing possession of hallucinogenic mushrooms and other psychedelics. By the way, if you're consuming other psychedelics, be careful. Magic mushrooms is in my opinion, is the best natural drug to go to. Because it was paramount to the human diet for 2 million years. It's the reason your brain created more neural synapses than, say, my cat, who did not eat magic mushrooms for 2 million years. So, if this sounds radical, which it's not, it's actually becoming something of a movement across the country over the past few years. Yeah, you know why? Because science. Okay? Listen, there are 2 things going on right now. A call to end the drug war and a call to legalize psilocybin. I'm for both. However, in my view, legalizing psilocybin would be one of, if not the greatest American policy that we could pass. And I am not exaggerating. Who's against this? Who the fuck is against this? I'll tell you who's against this. The pharmaceutical industry. Why would the pharmaceutical industry be against magic mushrooms? Why would the people who make antidepressants, why would they be against psilocybin? Why would the people who make the drugs, mushrooms, or at least the substances there within mushrooms, are crucial to your health? Okay? Can't stress that enough in this video. There's a magic mushroom Bible I highly recommend you read. Anyways. So if this sounds radical, it's actually becoming more something. Oh, let me pull it up. If this sounds radical, it's actually because it's actually become something of a movement across the country over the past few years. Just last week, Oregon voters passed a measure to permit supervised use of psilocybin. Supervised use, a natural psychedelic compound in a therapeutic setting. I hope that means that psychiatrists can prescribe it to treat major depressive disorder, considering major depressive disorder is thought to be caused by a decrease in number of By the way, let me just clarify something about this. It turns out that if you look at Americans have a huge problem with mental degenerative diseases, like brain diseases, okay? And it turns out that many of these medicinal mushrooms can assist in repairing neural pathways. Psilocybin has been shown to increase the number of synapses. Go ahead and tell me what other fucking drug does that. I'll wait. You tell me what substance increases the number of synapses in your brain. Go ahead. Find me any fucking drug in any pharmacologist. Go. Give me a drug that increases the number of synapses in your brain. Again, humans became smart during that 2 million year period, probably because they consumed psilocybin mushrooms from elephant shit because they couldn't find food. And then it all makes sense. You're welcome. This cat, he just wants all the attention. He's a good kitty. And it turns out a lot of great artists and musicians have consumed magic mushrooms. And they're really fucking smart. That's so interesting, isn't it? So what's the takeaway in this video? What's the takeaway? If you have influence, okay? If you have any influence, please use it to try to legalize psilocybin. Please. Psilocybin can help a lot of sad people out there. Psilocybin could be a solution to depression in the US. Full stop. A lot of people have depression. Okay, this is not a political issue. Shouldn't be a political issue. It causes hallucination. Well, you can fucking microdose. So just microdose. If you're scared of the hallucinations or whatever, which by the way, when people experience it, I mean, yeah, people have good trips, bad trips or whatever. But then one dose 6 months later was still effective at treating depression. People who consumed one hero's dose of magic mushrooms had antidepressive effects for months. Name me one antidepressant drug that you just have to consume one pill. That doesn't exist. Why is that? Well, because if we only had to give you one pill, you wouldn't come back for more, would you? If you had access to psilocybin, all of those antidepressant companies all those companies that make antidepressants, gone. There's no competition. Look at what weed did. You think weed helped with the opium crisis? Or opioid crisis? Not wrong, wrong side of the globe. But anyways, weed does help the opioid crisis, by the way. What more do you need? What are you waiting for, right? This is not partisan. This should not be partisan. Like, honestly, if you're a conservative right now and like some anti-libertarian status or whatever, you're really authoritarian, you really want to fucking make drugs illegal, just please consider legalizing this. Fully legalizing. In fact, mushrooms should be legal to grow. All mushrooms. There are how many species? 200 species of mushrooms that Congress decided you can't fucking have. That's a lot of fucking mushrooms. That's a huge portion of your potential diet. Man, some of those species have different health benefits, by the way. Not all magic mushrooms are built the same. Not all medicinal mushrooms are built the same. And it's really annoying to me that we have a label on medicinal mushrooms and a different label on psilocybin mushrooms. They're called magic mushrooms. Here's the thing, everyone. They're all fucking medicinal. They all help with your health. Okay? You need your vitamins, right? If you don't get vitamin C, for example, for your entire life, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have some health problems. You need vitamin C to survive. If you don't consume vitamin C, your body will lack nutrients, and that will hurt you. Okay? Physically. If you don't get your vitamins, you're hurting yourself. Now, how do we solve this problem beyond just like advocating for legalizing psilocybin? How do we, what else can you do, right? Let's say you're someone famous and you've gone out there and say, hey, let's legalize psilocybin, right? What else do we need to do? There's one more important thing. One more very important thing. We need to get more than one species in a fucking grocery store of mushrooms. These white button mushrooms are good. Where are the oyster mushrooms? Where are the reishi mushrooms? Where are the turkey tail mushrooms? Where are the... Like, I mean, I can go down the list, right? But anyways, I mean, there are so many. So many mushrooms you should be consuming. Now, let me just remind everyone, there are scams out there. There are scams out there where they try to talk about how they add lion's mane in there or whatever, right? Or they add... If it's not dehydrated and grinded up mushrooms, don't buy it. It's not the mushrooms, okay? You can... Buying mushrooms that are dried and then grinded up, that's perfectly fine. Those are equally nutritious. Maybe not equally, but nutritious. Getting a pill that says it has some lion mane, some vitamin D, some vitamin C in it, it's probably not going to have a lot of lion's mane in it. And you should figure out how much lion's mane is in one mushroom and how much lion's mane is in whatever you're buying. Like if you're buying tablets of lion's mane, you should ask yourself, should I buy this thing or should I just grow lion's mane? And I mean, eventually all of you will come to the conclusion that growing mushrooms is a lot more beneficial. Medicinal mushrooms are great to grow. Now, in California and in 2 other states in the US, it is illegal to also purchase spore syringes, which are the things that are needed to inoculate grain or whatever your spawn is going to be, whatever your medium choice is. Maybe wild bird seed, maybe brown rice or something. If you can't get the spore syringes, then you can't grow the mushrooms. Okay, spore syringes are like the seeds. Mushrooms don't have seeds. Plants have seeds because plants are just evolved mushrooms. Mushrooms don't need seeds, though. They just fucking grow. If you have the mycelium just wants to grow. That's all it wants to do. That's like its only... That's like what it exists for. Its life goal is to just spread. It's all a fungus wants to do. Which is hilarious because that's actually the innate like tendency of human nature, right? Is to like expand and to learn and to go out there, right? And go into space and reach beyond and spread. We're fucking evolved fungus, everyone. That's what we are. Anyways, advocate for legalizing psilocybin and advocate for introducing more species of mushrooms. If we have those species, by the way, all those drugs that you get to try to help with your mental stuff, right? All of a sudden, you don't need a lot of them. Tweet out, legalize psilocybin. Use your influence. do whatever you can. We can help a lot of people out there.